And so I want you to please invite someone in. I am having some challenges with the Facebook, so ask people to just join us on Zoom, okay? Um, let's see. Thank you so much. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tasha, for being willing to share. Those of you who may not know LaTasha, we are former schoolmates,
Yes.
the Baldwin Wallace University.
All jackets.
And we sang in the gospel choir, VOP, together. And so many shenanigans back in the day.
Oh,
And it's all under the blood. Hallelujah.
yes. Thank you.
So nowadays, Tasha is serving the community as a licensed counselor, and she owns her own practice called Life Walk. So those of you who are interested, you can contact her and she'll talk more about that. But today, in light of everything that has been going on in our country and even in the world, I felt that it was very important for us to really help people mentally and emotionally to just cope, because we went from one thing to the complete opposite in a matter of a day or so. We went from being able to just go wherever to people saying don't gather, to people saying don't even go outside. And currently, I live in the state of Georgia, and currently the entire state is under shelter in place, which shelter in place means that unless you have something essential like food, or you need to go to the doctor or the hospital, they want you to stay inside. And so that is huge for some people, because some people are out every single day, all day. Some people never, rarely go out. So it's not as big of a deal for them. But some people are accustomed to doing things in a particular way. And now we have had to make an adjustment. We've had to change totally. And so I want everyone, those of you who are here with us in the chat room, go ahead, let us know that you're here, say hello. You are so welcome. We appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions, I would appreciate you sharing them. We are going to talk about as much as we can, but we're going to start with children and dealing with our kids at home. And also, we are going to talk about, I felt like it was important to talk about people like extroverts who are used to just being able to go and just, they feed off of being with others. Not that they always have to be with others, but that's where they thrive and really get their energy from. And now it's like, you can't do that. And so it was very important to me that we be able to talk about that group of people, and then also our churches and the shift that has taken place. So Tasha, I'm going to let you introduce yourself briefly, and then just talk to us about some of the challenges that you have seen in your practice that people are enduring in this state.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Like you said, my name is LaTasha Washington. I currently reside in Columbus, Ohio. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, originally. I have lots of degrees. Let's see. One is from Baldwin Wallace College, and I have a bachelor's in psychology with minors in English and Child and Family Studies. I have a master's degree from Ashland Theological Seminary. So I have that Christian counseling piece in there as well. And then I have another master's degree, look at God, from Liberty University in clinical counseling. And basically all my degrees put together, plus taking a statewide test, passing that test, has led me to become a licensed professional clinical counselor. So just so you understand, a clinical counselor is a person who is licensed in your state to diagnose and to treat certain mental illnesses, mental health issues, behavioral issues, emotional issues. So don't get that confused with a life coach, because a life coach does not have the certification, the education, or the license to diagnose. They don't, well, they shouldn't be handling heavy diagnosis or heavy issues. Another part is that I do biblical counseling. So if you are a believer and you want to add the Bible, you want to add Christian principles, you want to pray, you want to worship, you know, if you want to add that, I got you there too. But if you don't, I got you there too. My job with LifeWalk, my own practice, is to come alongside of that person, meet them where they are, and help them reach their healthier goals. So sometimes people come in and they're mad at God. So we don't start out talking about God, or, you know, we add them later on. So I follow the lead of the client, because I don't want to push and I don't want to drag you to your healing. I want you to want to work for that healing. But let's see, what's been going on in my practice recently? I work for a community mental health agency and I have a practice. So it has been almost overwhelming, because I would see maybe 6 or 7 people per day. I'm up to about like 10 to 12 per day. And with the state of Ohio, I know for sure that that's a lot. Like last Monday, I saw somebody every hour on the hour. I'm like, can I get a drink of water? Can I go to the bathroom? And everybody really had some of the same concerns, but with different intensities. So like you said earlier, we went from just our regular everyday lives to, okay, you can't be in groups of 50, and okay, you can't be in groups of, just like, wait, hold on. These numbers are getting smaller, and now you want us to stay in the house?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Stay in the, when the schools are closed. I think that's when people started to take it seriously.
Right.
When the schools were closed. And because that's when the numbers started rising at the community mental health center and at my practice. Because now it's, wait a minute, my kids are going to be home. And now they're going to start asking me questions that I don't know how to answer.
Yeah.
So we were getting more kids coming in. And when the children were coming in, they were very concerned, especially children who already deal with depression and anxiety. And I'm not talking teenage children. I'm talking 8, 9, 10, 11 in there. Very concerned. How is the virus spread, Ms. Tasha? How do you say, is this corona? I get notifications on my cell phone when I'm at school and when I'm at home. I'm like, you get notifications on you're 9. Like, what is going on? Like, you know, I like the CDC, so I can get updates from the CDC. These are 10 and 11-year-old kids.
Oh my goodness.
I said, I don't even get notifications from the CDC, sweetie. Hold on. Right. So once the kids started voicing their concerns, and then the parents were thinking like, wait a minute, now my job is affected. So I'm going to have to be at home. Am I going to be able to work from home? Mm-hmm. And if I am going to be able to work from home, how is that going to work when I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids? Like, everybody's at home.
Yeah.
So everybody has questions, and the more the weeks progress, the issues are now becoming, I don't like being in the house with these people.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, because I'm like, husbands don't know your wives don't know the husbands, and the parents don't know the kids. So it's like, it's a bunch of strangers living under the same roof, because now we can see how busy we keep ourselves. Mm-hmm. So we can see we got to take such and such to soccer. We got to take you to gymnastics. You got to go to step practice. We got to go to church. We got choir rehearsal. We got Bible study. We got worship team rehearsal. Then we got church. Or it's like, we keep ourselves busy, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're being productive. So now it's like, we're all on this like punishment or grounding of sorts, so we can look at our priorities.
That's
like,
good.
what have we been doing? What have we been teaching our family? What have we been teaching our kids? How have we been even connecting as a family? Because that's why people are saying in these sessions, like, oh no, I drove down the street to talk to you in the car, in the parking lot, because I don't want to be around you anymore. Oh, I'm in my driveway. I'm having my session in the driveway because I had to get out of the house. I'm in the backyard. I locked everybody in. Like, all right.
Wow.
Because now with I'm still considered an essential worker. So I actually can go out. I can go to my office and I can still see people if I want to. So I'm still considered essential. But now, especially now with telehealth, and telemental health. So basically that just means you can now have your mental health sessions, your counseling sessions, like we're having a session right now, via video, or we can have it on the phone, or we can also have text message sessions.
Okay.
As long as whatever you're using is HIPAA compliant, meaning it's keeping up with the national level of confidentiality, that your information isn't being spread anywhere, anything like that. And a lot of the states have relaxed, the rules around telehealth so that your insurance will still pay for it. Because telehealth has always been like an issue. It's been kind of like a sensitive spot. It's like, well, can it really affect people if you're not sitting right in the room with them? Can you really reach them? Can you really? So it's always been kind of a sore spot. But now everybody's running to it.
Because it's all we have now.
Exactly. And I've been an advocate for this since like 2010, 2011. I remember writing papers and doing research on it in grad school. Like, this is going to be a thing.
Wow.
And we need to get on board quicker than that. Here we are, 2020, and this is all that we have.
It's all that we have. You talked about as families being together and it being overwhelming for some. What do you think, what can we do as families? On the one hand, it's like, but these are my children, but this is my spouse. How do I find, what can you say to just finding that balance of maintaining me mentally, emotionally, but also being able to be there for the others in my family?
Well, first of all, I'm a big believer in structure. Not structure so much where it's every minute of the day is planned, but structure enough where okay, you still have a bedtime, children. You still have a bedtime. This is not kicking it. This is not we up all night. This is not tablet palooza. No, you still have a bedtime and you still have a time to wake up. So the other part is it doesn't necessarily have to be the same time they were going to school.
Yes.
So we don't have to get up at 6:30 in the morning. Because for what? Where are we going? To the dining room table?
Right.
No, I'm not even up at 6:30. I don't even want to tell you at 6:30. No. So looking at what are good times to have the children up? Is 8 a good time? Is 8:30 a good time? Is breakfast as a family an option? So when you're looking at your daily schedule, are you working from home? So if your work starts at a certain time, you may have to get the children up a little bit earlier so that you can have them set up. Secondly, with the structure of the day, they don't have to literally do schoolwork all day. They don't. Surprise. If you ask any, homeschooling parent, any online school parent or student, they're not sitting in front of computers for 8 hours a day.
Right.
It's maybe 4, maybe 5. And then get creative with their lessons. Like if you want to talk about math, teach them how to cook something. There's a lot of math in there. There's a lot of measurements. There's a lot of stuff in there where you can use math. If you want to have a PE class, let's go into the backyard and this is what we're about to do. Let's stretch. Let's log in on YouTube and we can do yoga. I have plenty of resources for free yoga classes for families online. Your YMCA has websites where they're offering free classes as well. Virtual visits to museums are online. Virtual visits to zoos are online. Debbie Allen giving dance classes on Instagram. Like, there are so many things that you can incorporate into the school day so that it's not boring and so that you can break it up. And then you can go back to some old school stuff. Where's your jump ropes? Where's your hula hoops? Roller skates, like we were talking about earlier, like spending time with your family so that you can get to know them again.
We have been playing a lot of games.
Yes.
Board games. And I even ended up teaching my whole family, didn't know my husband and my mother-in-law didn't know how to play dominoes.
Oh, so, okay. That's something. That, I mean, literally pull out the board games. And if you got some gamers in the family that play video games, this is another thing that I like to say is have your child teach you something.
Oh, good.
Because that's something I do in sessions, especially when I have like a teenager or a child who doesn't want to talk. So like if you walk up to them like, how are you doing? I just want to make sure you're okay. And they're just like, I'm all right, I'm good, whatever. And then they just isolate themselves in their room. Don't bring the tough topic up. Don't start to talk about their feelings like, hey, you was playing this game the other night and you were real hyped. Like, I want to know what was going on. Like, and sit down, like, okay, now what's the character? What are we doing? Can you teach me how to play this? Or I remember you were telling me, you were part of the debate team. What was the last thing you debated about? What was the last thing you were researching? Like, have them teach you something. Let them bring you into their lives.
That's great. That is really, really good. And I think sometimes we, as parents, can be so into, we got to get these things done, that we don't allow our kids to be people. And we don't necessarily pull on the gifts and things that are inside of them that will create an opportunity for us to learn more about them. I definitely go back and forth with that and have, my ups and downs with it when it comes to that. But as someone who my son is getting ready to be 14, and so he's at that, I'm in my room all the time. And so, and when I call him, I'm like, come on, we're going to sit down and do so and so and so. And he's like,
I mean, do I have to?
Yes. He will tell anybody that he despises it, but he loves it because you can tell, because, he'll engage, he'll try to make jokes or whatever, he may not suggest it, but he wants to be a part of it on certain levels and for a certain amount of time. There was a question, let me pull it up, let's see, about the kids. It's what are some behaviors that children may begin to show during this time, and how should they be responded to?
Okay, so that is a really good question, number one. And the first thing is, that means you're going to have to be paying attention enough to see the differences. So first thing, you're going to have to know your child and how they are on a regular basis. So if you have a child that's usually like chatty Cathy, like she talks all the time and she's doing her hair, or she wants to do her nails, or you have someone that usually wants to read a book or be in their room, or people or boys that like to, sports or like to be outside. And all of a sudden, these small, subtle changes are happening. So maybe they're not spending as much time with the family as they usually do. If you see that there's a change in hobbies, like, of course you can't like go to the basketball court or anything like that, or you can't go to the gym to work out. But if you see that they're pulling back from things they were interested in. So, because even if you a fan of a sport, even though you can't play it, I bet you're going to find every ESPN channel you can find to watch an old game, or you're going to be on YouTube, or you're going to be outside dribbling something, because the interest will still be present, even though they can't actively play it. But when you notice, like, wow, I haven't heard any games. He hasn't watched no games in a minute, or, you know, his basketball still just sitting outside. If you notice that they're not interacting with friends. Now, that's FaceTime, that's phone calls, that's WhatsApp, that's TikTok, like it's Snapchat, it's all of these things where they can still have some interaction with friends, but if you notice that they're even withdrawing from their peers, pay attention to that. Now, the stuff that you probably won't like to hear is if they change that attitude. Because it's like and the thing is, symptoms of both anxiety and depression are irritability. So that, oh my God, why you keep asking me questions? That's irritability. Or, I know you're not asking me this again. I already told you what to do. That's that's irritability. That attitude, irritability is a part of anger and depression. Anxiety and depression. Anger is a big part of it. Frustration is a big part of it. And when you think about kids, they don't really have the language to say, I'm feeling frustrated currently. Can you please give me some time? No, it's going to be like, oh my God. And then it's going to be them throwing the book on the floor or slamming their door. And with that, you want to like, all right, now you disrespecting me, you disrespecting my house, but hold on. This is the only way they know how to express emotions. In your younger children, in your young children, like 4, 5, 6, they might complain more of stomach aches. So belly aches, headaches, just kind of feel like, I don't want to, like real whiny, where it's just like, just get up and go. And it's like, I don't want to. They might become more clingy. So you're trying to work and they're hanging on your calf, and it's just like, okay, listen, baby, honey, you got to get off. But that's them using the only languages that they have, which is usually like your body language or tears or voice inflection. So you can say like, okay, something's different here.
Yeah.
Because your children are going to depend on you to know them.
Wow.
And that's the part where it's like, okay, so is this disrespect or is this depression right now?
Wow. That right there, your children depend on you to know them.
Yeah.
That is, wow. Because
and that's even understanding that each of your children have different personalities.
Right.
Like you really might have a whole 10-year-old preacher in the family that he wants to listen to Tasha Cobbs all day. You know, he want to be in the holies of holies, but you might have a 15-year-old girl that's a savage. What? Class like you gotta know
who's who, right?
Who's who. Love them the same, but treat them accordingly, you know?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. This is so good. This is so good. I hope that you guys are enjoying this. For those of you who are just coming in, thank you for coming in. This is LaTasha Washington, and she has been sharing with us of how to help our children cope and how we as families can cope during this time emotionally and mentally as we are experiencing social distancing, we are sheltering in place and all those types of things. And it has been phenomenal. So I want to shift just a little bit from the young people to extroverts.
Okay.
So I know Tasha to be an extrovert. And we talked a little bit beforehand, and she told me that she shifted a little bit to ambivert, which is having the balance of both introvert and extrovert personalities. Know when to pull yourself away, know when to go out. But I I know her. All the way live, okay? All the way live. Always on, always ready.
Yeah.
And I think, a time like this where that population, they can't get out as much.
Mm-hmm.
They can't you're not supposed to be interacting with people. It's like 6 feet. It was like 3 feet or something. Now it's 6 feet. 6 feet is like a room length,
Right.
basically, away from one another. And so it's not like you're going to have any sort of connecting conversation. So what can a person who is an extrovert, they're yearning for that connectiveness, what kind of suggestions can you give for that group of people to do, how to manage?
Last night I was scrolling through Facebook. Facebook is a very different beast for me. Like, it's not just social for me all the time because I'm a counselor with discernment. So when I'm reading like, like, pray for this person. Okay, this is what happened. All right, reach out to this person. Like, I look at social media a lot different, and even the articles or funny videos, whatever I post, like everything is on purpose. But last night, looking on Facebook, there was a young man. I think he lived past tense, unfortunately, in the UK, and he was such an extrovert that him being social distance led him to take his own life. Like,
Oh
he,
my God.
he couldn't function. Like, it was almost like a malfunction in his brain. Like, hold on, what do you mean? Like, I can't be around people. So he took his own life because he was alone in his apartment, following the rules, but at the same time, just the way I was feeling as I was reading, probably feeling more suffocated as every minute went by, that he couldn't physically interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with extroverts, I would have to say this is a good time to really learn yourself, because a lot of extroverts, we have to come to some type of understanding as to why are we the way we are. Some extroverts are that way because you have to be social for whatever your calling is. So when you have to be out, you have to be around people, you have to be amiable, you have to be friendly, have conversation, engage with people. But some people are extroverts because they don't want to deal with their own pain. So I can use being around people, being the center of attention, being at every concert, every church service, because in my seminars, I talk about how the church is also a drug of choice. Just like gambling, sex, food, alcohol, drugs, church can be a drug of choice as well, because people go there for emotional fixes. They go there to put masks on. I'm gonna show you that everything is okay. It's like I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be at every service. I'm gonna help you clean up. I'm gonna make the pies, and I'm gonna clean up the fellowship hall afterwards. I'm an usher. I'm a greeter. Hold on. What exactly are you trying to avoid?
Oh my.
So we're putting a lot of energy into being busy, like I said earlier, and not being productive. So a lot of extroverts, it's not that they cannot be alone, but what happens when you're alone? Because you're left alone with your own thoughts. You're left alone with what's going on in your heart. You're left alone with like all the stuff you've never dealt with because you're so busy being the life of the party that you haven't really dealt with you.
Wow. So if a person, understanding that that person may need someone to talk to, for sure. But if they're not to that place yet,
Yeah.
what how do they sort of settle all of that, being alone with myself?
So what I've seen a lot of, and they're kind of getting on my nerves, but it's fine because I know it's a coping mechanism. So have you seen like the videos where it'll say like no boy left behind, or hashtag don't rush, where it's
Right.
like they show a person in their
Yeah.
pajamas and their hair is wrapped up, and then they like
Uh-huh.
something, and then all of a sudden they all
Change.
like, yeah. It's getting on my nerves, but I had to pull back and say, hey, what is this doing? This
Okay.
is causing a connection that you're not seeing, because all of these people had to talk to each other. They
Right.
had to connect. They had to say, hey, this is my idea. This is what I want you to do. And then this is why I need you to do it. So at the same time, they're getting the social interaction as much as they can through the conversation, through the FaceTime, um, and being able to encourage each other at the same time. So it's a coping skill. So I'm like, Tasha,
Ah.
don't get upset about it. You ain't gotta watch them all. How about that? Number one. But I understand, because I've been asked to be a part of like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's really me, but like, or like the things with like the TikToks and everybody doing these challenges, like the mom and dad challenge, or dance with your dad, dance moms with your daughters. Like, all of these different challenges are made for the extrovert and the introvert at the same time, because it's just enough interaction for them both.
Okay. Wow.
So we can talk on the phone. Okay, we're doing mom. So you want me to look like I look every day? Then swipe the brush on there, but I have to be okay. So, well, what's your email address so I can send you the video? You see what I mean? Like, it's constant communication. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so let me know when the video's done. Send it to us first, girl, so we can review it. So it's constant conversation.
Okay.
There's a children's version where the kids are in their pajamas and they're reading books. And then they get done with the book and they hold the book up to the screen, and when they take it down, they have on like, a lot of them had on church clothes. They look like little big church babies, but like church clothes, or like their sparkly outfits. And then instead of like throwing the brush, they would toss a book. So
Okay.
it's like, so the kids would get the book and then they would change. So it's enough interaction where it's like, okay, I can be silly, I can be goofy, but I'm also encouraging people at the same time. Like, we're going to get through this. I know we can't be in the same room together, but let's use these videos. Let's use these different challenges to connect to each other so we can still feel some type of connection. Like,
That's good.
like all these DJs having these parties.
Yes.
And I mean, and even like Christian DJs, because listen, between Corey and Mickey and the other young man, these praise break.
Yeah.
I done lost about 50 pounds just shouting. There's this many praise breaks in the world.
Right.
Tune into these quarantine club, parties and stuff. And that's another way. Because
Yeah.
even because you can bring, like, you can show up on this, like, you can show yourself dancing and post it on there because they want you to put the hashtag on it. So it's
Right.
showing, oh, I was at a party where Oprah was at. Oh, I was at a party where Michelle Obama, like, okay,
Right.
you were. But like, but it's still adding that connection.
Sure. That's great. That's I never even thought about those videos that way. And it is a bunch of them. I'm like,
Listen, the
all
Lord
right.
had to check me because it was on my nerve. I said, all right. Thank you, sis.
Yes, that's good though. That's good to know, opportunities as extroverts to just be able to connect with somebody, and reach out, and someone reaching out to them. So that's very good. It's good perspective on that as well. So for those of you who are in our chat room, if you have any questions for Tasha about how to cope, about being, at home after all this time with your family, and what to do. If you have any specific questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat.
I do want to answer a question you asked before.
Okay.
About couples.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, take showers and baths. God bless you. God bless you. We're in the house. Yes, we are. But we don't have to smell each other. The waterworks, The soap works. Let's use it. So that's number one for everybody.
Wow.
Married couples, listen, wash and pray. Okay. We done flipped the scripture. That's all right. But my friend today, she posted something on Facebook, and I was like, I know it's right. So she's newly married. Their first year anniversary is coming up, and she put a picture of herself up with her face made up and her hair was done, and she had on clothes. And she said, just give them a little bit to look at today. Thank you. We know what you look like with your bonnet on and your do-rag scarf, but you can still take a shower. You still do a little dab of lip gloss, Vaseline, something, get a little shine. Don't be ashy. Smell good. And change out of pajamas every once in a while.
Yeah.
Keep it interesting. You can still date indoors and in your backyard or on your porch or on your patio. You can have picnics. You can have candlelit dinners. And that's why the other part of making sure that the kids still have a bedtime, because y'all still need to have adult time. So even if bedtime now includes an extra 30 minutes of winding down in your room, so that me and dad can have some of your dad time, because you have to, it sounds like a lot. It can become overwhelming, but working together as a family, that's where that comes in. So I would say for couples, like, still date your spouse. I mean, even if y'all just want to leave little love letters, hidden places around the house, scavenger hunts are really good things to do. Dates. I mean, I keep saying that, like, have movie nights. You can even do family movie nights, and where, you know, each child can choose a movie for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Have dance offs. I mean, get dressed. Have a grown up prom with just you and your boo. Like, get creative.
Yeah.
Come out of the rut. But the main thing is making sure you're talking to people and connecting to the people in your house. Because if that's one of the things to be grateful for, is that you're quarantined, but you're not alone. That's another way to flip that and look at it, because you have people who are alone and lonely. Like, they literally can't take it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so helpful. Because I will admit that some days I'd be like, I'm so over this getting up and getting dressed. You know, but I know that it makes a difference in my attitude.
Yep.
It makes a difference in how I, you know, present.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody called me. She was like, "Can you do a training real quick?" I was like, "Girl, I look a mess." She was like, "You don't be getting up. You don't be getting yourself together." And I was like, "Well, not every day."
Yep. Because we first started with phone sessions. I was like, "What? Phone sessions? Great." Then they sent out that letter about the video. I said, "Oh, all right. Guess I gotta look like something.
Do something."
Listen, you go get from the waist up, professional counselor reporting. But I'm gonna have on my pajama pants. Listen, I am. I'm gonna have on my pajama pants.
Balance.
And I'm gonna be free.
Amen. Listen, I think this is so good. I think it definitely encourages us. Talk a little bit about the importance of having the conversation maybe with your family members and your family, just to say, hey, because I think, well, I know for me, I just kind of like, we were just thrown in. Like, Thursday, the kids had school. Monday, they didn't.
and Monday, they didn't, like, forever. Like, it was just no school.
Like, we're not coming back. Okay. First, it's like we're learning how to ride a bike, and we're figuring it out. We're figuring out. The teachers are figuring out. Everybody's figuring it out. And so while you were talking, I was like, maybe we need to sit down as a family and just, because we're just doing it. We're just getting it done. And although for us, we have some moments where I'm like, come on, we need to just come together as a family and do stuff. But we haven't really sat down and just talked and said, hey, you all right? So talk about the importance of that. I know that it's important.
It's very important. And I had this conversation with one of my clients' moms, because she's like, well, how much do we tell them? Like, what I don't know how to answer these questions. I don't know. I'm freaking out myself. So talking her down. But the advice that I gave was have the conversation. So if it is a 2-parent household, have a conversation with the adults first. Y'all talk about like, hey, checking in with yourself. Like, how are you doing? Like, maybe like, I know you're still essential and you still have to leave the house. How are you feeling about that? Or babe, like, I know that you're working from home and you're homeschooling the kids. Have a conversation first with the adults in the house so that you can understand where the two of you are coming from.
Yeah.
Then you can present a united front, because that's going to be very important when you have the conversation with the rest of your family. I tell parents all the time, it's okay for you to let them know, hey, I'm confused too. I get scared sometimes too. Sometimes I don't really have the answer. Sometimes my answer will be, I don't know. But what I'll make sure to do is to see what I can find out and I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So having the conversation with the kids and understand that their whole structure has changed. This is a big thing that a lot of people don't connect, that we are in a state of mourning and grieving right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when people attach a definition to the word grief or grieving, more than likely you're going to go to the death of a person. But when I teach the definition of grief, it's the loss of something or someone. Because the hardest thing to have to do is to grieve a person who isn't dead. So divorces, breakups, family arguments that split families up, like because you're not married to that person anymore, but you're still grieving the loss, but that person is not dead. He just lives on the other side of town. You know what I mean? Like, so it's understand that you're grieving. So right now, everybody's grieving something because we're all transitioning. So just think about how you were when you were little. Just think if you had your birthday coming up and your family was taking you for your birthday to Walt Disney World for a week. Guess what? It's not going to happen. So I'm going to be mad about that. I'm going to be sad about that. So I can't go to prom? What you mean?
Right.
So we're just nothing? We're not, nothing? Wait a minute. So if I can't go to prom, we ain't have a graduation either. So I can't even walk the stage. Do I even get a cap and gown? And if you think about, like, they canceled the ACT, the SAT, like, there's so many different things that we don't think about that are milestones in the lives of children and in the lives of families, where a lot of these things are not going to be met. And kids need to talk about that stuff. Like, I'm mad because, I'm a gymnast and we made it to the finals, but the finals are canceled. Stuff like that. Every sporting event, like you had spring sports coming up. So you have athletes who've been conditioning who can't even play.
Yeah.
So sitting down and let them not only express what they're missing, but receive how they're feeling about what they're missing. Because that's the thing. Don't dismiss it. Don't minimize it. It's fine, girl. Listen, I didn't even go to my own prom. Prom wasn't that was your experience. That was your experience. That was your experience.
Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't go, but that she didn't want that to be her testimony. So we don't listen to her be sad about not being able to go to prom. we're gonna listen to you, and we're gonna take what you have, like, and then ask what can we do as a family to help. Like, I know we can't go to Walt Disney World, but can we decorate the house for your birthday? Can we do like some Disney themed stuff for your birthday? Like, figuring out what you can do, what you can't do, what you can control, and what you can't.
So good.
When I would go shopping at places like Walmart or Target or like Family Dollar, Dollar General, I'm such a weird person. I was like, it's a lot of decorations still on the walls and on these displays, because I would have random parties. You just come downstairs and this balloon's, hey, it's Tuesday. Hey, like what? But okay, we ain't doing nothing. It's Tuesday, having a Tuesday party. Just be random.
Oh my gosh. The funny thing, you said that, like, as soon as you said, I was like, oh, my daughter would love that. That's her all the
way. But I'm also that friend that, like, would randomly go out, buy a gift bag, and start throwing, like, somebody's favorite stuff in there. And I would just be like, happy Renee Day, and just, like, give it to them.
Wow.
So having a random party, it just fits with how my brain works. And even if they come downstairs and it's decorated for Valentine's Day, so what? I love you day, woo, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
So good.
Good.
That's really good. That's really good. And that kind of thing breaks up the monotony.
Yep.
Of doing things the same way every day, because we're so accustomed to going somewhere to meet that, celebration need.
Yep.
We're so accustomed to that. And so to say, we got to think about it differently now. We got to think about, we could still celebrate you. We could just still celebrate the fact that we're together. So let's just do that. So
I thought about, you put it either in the post about this when you said about Holy Week, because for some strange reason I had to do the welcome today for church. I was like, I love you, Pastor. Okay, I'm gonna be obedient. But it hit, and I when I did the welcome, I was like, this is a very special week, and we're still celebrating.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're not at church because today we had communion, and a lot of churches had communion, and people were so like, I'm not at the church. What? Oh God, what is going to happen? Like, the pits of hell are not going to open up because you physically were not in a church and didn't take communion in the church. Like, you're here. You're still here, right? You made it. Great. Right. But it's still having the mindset and having your spirit set that I am the church. We are the church. So listen, this is what like I said, what can we do? What can't we do? What's in our control? What's not in our control? Just because we're not in the church doesn't mean we can't celebrate Holy Week. This might be a good time for you and your family to research what it really is. Because I know I didn't know what a Maundy Thursday was. I said, what happened on Thursday? So, like, I remember thinking that in seminary, like, I'm too old not to know. Like, I know what Ash Wednesday is, but what does it mean? I know what Good Friday is, but how did it unfold? You know what I mean? Like, just not taking it as something we do every year and buy that good suit and buy them dope shoes so you can just shout all over the church about the blood. No, we can really take this time this year to come to understand what it means.
Yes, get understanding.
So, because I mean, I'm just thinking like we are still celebrating, because even through all of this, we have to remember that the blood still works. And I promise you, like, when I said that this morning, I was all right. Let me flip over nothing. Because it's so easy to get caught up in the negatives and all these reports and what's going on. But that doesn't change the power of God.
Amen.
It doesn't weaken the blood of Jesus at all.
Absolutely.
So whatever you're focusing on, whatever thoughts that you're having, whatever thoughts that you're feeding, those are the thoughts that grow. Whatever thoughts that you're not thinking about, or things you're not focusing on, you're starving them. So what are you feeding and what are you starving? Because in that you're going to find out where that deficit is.
That's so good, and I love and thank you for bringing in the Holy Week, because the church is the other place that is, we are having just anxiety about not being there, and we don't hardly, I don't want to say everybody, but some people are just like, I don't know what to do with myself because I'm not getting up and going there. And when I look at it, I'm like, well, you're gonna have to go deep down. You're gonna have to do you really know them?
Yeah, because at this point, is it religion, is it tradition, or is it relationship? And I feel like we just, like, God is like, hey, I've been here this whole time, but have you paid any attention to me? Like, so if I need to use this time while you're in the house for you to not only get to know your children again, get to know your spouse again, you're going to get to know me again, but in a different way.
Yes. So good. And you said earlier, when just you and I were talking about, he will find you. Talk about that. Those people who don't go.
Because today, my pastor, he chooses to meet at the church on Sundays, but it's still only like 10 or less. So he preaches, and a piece of the worship team sings, because it's about 10 or 11 of us total, but a piece of us sing, and then the musicians are there or whatever. But today he made this comment during the altar call saying, some of you said I would never set foot into a church again. And when he said that, it just struck me, because I was like, I know I said that. And God was still like, okay, I'm gonna let you have this time, but you'll be back. But in that course, in that sentence, when he said that, I was like, this is crazy, because even though the person who said, I'll never set foot into a church again, meant it and kept their word about it, the church came to them. The church came to their doorstep. And I said, God will get to you. He will find you.
Yeah.
So that he can get that word to you, so that you can know you're still on his mind. You're still on his heart. He still has plans for you. He's concerned about you. And I saw a question over here about dealing with income loss. And I felt like, when you understand that the Lord is concerned about everything that you're concerned about, like, nothing is too small. Nothing is too small. I remember my little sister, she loves this story about how I was sick, and she was like 3 or 4. And I wake up and she's sitting on my chest. First of all, I'm sick, ma'am. Can I breathe? But I just remember this so clearly, because she was like 4. She said, did you pray? Did you ask God to make you okay? Did you ask God to not make you sick? I'm like, girl, what? Because I prayed. So I had short fingernails, and I said, God, I want longer fingernails. Now look. And she put her little fingers. She said, so I know if I can grow my fingernails, it can make you feel better. It just jumped off of me.
That's simple.
That, period. It's that simple. And I think about that, because that baby was concerned, as stupid and silly as it may sound. That was a real testimony to her, because he's concerned about her little fingernails. And if you think about the birds and the trees, like, the birds are not thinking, oh my Lord, what am I going to eat? They just know that the provision is going to be there.
Yeah.
And even if you think about how your children look at you, where it's like, oh, I know we're going to have food, because mom and dad are going to make sure we have food. You know what I mean? Like, we have to learn how to trust again, to have faith again, to believe, and keep that consistent. But then in practical, because I always like to give those practical pointers as well, take a look at what your budget is. Literally, what do you have coming into your household this month? What do you have coming out? What can you actually afford to pay? Do you have food? Do you have, you know, like the paper towels, toilet paper? Because I know that a lot of a lot of laws and like bills have been put in place to make sure that no one's utilities are being cut off, that no evictions can be processed, so no one can be evicted. I know that some cable and internet companies are offering free internet and cable to lower income households because the children need the internet for school. Right. I know in Columbus, we have plenty of schools who are still feeding the children during the school week. So having a lookout and keeping a lookout on what your natural resources are around you. So we have drive-through food banks now, mobile food bank. So you can't get out, but they'll prepare it and they'll bring it to you curbside. Yeah. For Columbus, I know you can dial 211 from your cell phone, give them your zip code, and then they can tell you what's available in your area. Yeah. So I would say be on the lookout for those natural resources. And then I would say just be mindful with what you're doing with the money that you have. Because it's very easy to shop Amazon Prime every 2 seconds. It's easy to get on because now you can't really go into the stores. So now it's just easy to go to a website and do anxiety shopping because you're so nervous and you got this pent up energy and you wish you were out. Now you just click it. Add the card, add the card, add the card. Like, be mindful of the income that's coming in and be wise about what you have. Because yes, you know, they've extended the fact that, you know, you can't be evicted. They're not going to turn off. And I know at least 3 cell phone companies aren't disconnecting services either, because once again, people are working from home. Some cell phone companies are adding free hotspots to the data plans. Yeah, I randomly got a whole nother like 50 more whatever data added to this data thing on my phone, but they're adding more. But just because you're getting this rest, don't slack on your stewardship. That's so good. Because I'm like, can I pay my rent right now? Is it possible? Like, or am I just literally, I don't have any food in the refrigerator, there's nothing I have? Okay. Because if I can actually pay it, then pay it. Don't just think, oh, I could just keep this because when we go back to work, you don't want to be more stressed out when we come out of this. Right. Because it's not forgiven. You still gonna have to pay it. Yeah. And that's, I would say check your practical resources. Prioritize. Yep. Prioritize what do you need versus what do you want. And check with, make sure that you know that God is the source and he uses resources to get you to things. Good job. Don't become dependent on the resources that you forget where everything is coming from. Good. That's good. He is the source and he gets you to the resource. I love it. I've been smacked up and down with that one, like especially in grad school. Like, well, what you mean? You told me to go to school, but I ain't got no food to eat. Like, and then somebody show up with a bag full of groceries. True story. Oh, wow. Like, why are y'all here? 3 bags of groceries. And literally said, Tasha, we know how proud you are. We know you ain't got no food. Food, girl. And then came in the kitchen, put everything up. I said, so even in my stubbornness, you provide. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Wow. Listen, this has been phenomenal, first of all. And thank you for everybody who is on, who has shared, and who has invited people. If anyone has any questions, I see it's a few people on the phone, so I'm gonna unmute and just see if you have anything that you would like to ask or would like to share on this call. You can unmute yourself if you would like, and you can ask Tasha a question.
And or if you would just like to share share what you've gained from being here. She is sharing her business phone number with you there. Like I said, she is a licensed counselor, and thank you for clarifying with us, because you said, where is it? I wrote up clinical counselor, licensed clinical counselor. So you are able to diagnose,
Yes.
different from a life coach who can just help you along the way, but able to diagnose and get you what you need in the midst of that diagnosis. And so does anybody have any questions or anything that you would like to just share in this moment? I will open it up and you can talk. I've unmuted all the lines. If your line is still muted, you can unmute it yourself if you want to. Cheryl, did you want to say something?
That picture cute.
Tanisha,
Yes.
I'd like to thank Tasha. I think all of the information was quite helpful. The thing that I'd like to comment on is the Christian aspect of your counseling. And I think that adds such an important element to especially the times that we are in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The faith-based aspect to counseling is very, very important.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I have to say it was important to me during school because I knew I wanted to be a counselor. But as a believer, even in my secular jobs, I was like, I'm always leading them to Christ, or like I'm always praying with somebody or praying over somebody. So can I be a counselor, still be a Christian, but still use biblical? Like, how can I do that? So when I look for an internship, I look specifically for a Christian counselor because I wanted to see, like, how do you do that? Like, are you preaching in the session? Like, are you taking a text in the session? Like, how can I do that? And then it was the mixture of also learning how to be a Christian counselor in a secular environment.
Well, listen, the word of God is very, very practical.
Yeah.
It's practical and it's true. If applied, even an unbeliever can see that these principles work.
Yep. Because that's the thing, because with secular counseling, it's like you can't say that you're a Christian, but if they bring it up and they ask you, then that's the open door. And that's how I would usually get in, because my schools, I have to give a huge shout out to Liberty and Ashland. They taught me to be a Christian counselor, meaning using the Bible, using biblical principles, but they taught me how to be a Christian counselor and let my walk as a Christian speak for myself in my vocation. Because I will always it's something different about you. I've had counselors before, but it's just something different. Like, do you, Miss Tasha, you be praying for me? Huh? Did you say pray? All right, that's that open door I need. Like, or when you come over to my house and we have counseling sessions, it feels different when you leave. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
One lady, she opened the door for me to come in first session, and she said, "You're a believer." She said, "And you're going to be the first person that is going to understand that I'm not schizophrenic when I say I hear the Lord speak to me."
Wow.
And she was not. They had her on 6-7 medications because they said she was hearing voices, that she thought she was Jesus. And she said, "Miss Tasha, that's not what I'm telling these people." She's crying.
Wow.
I've had clients, one client said that she told the Lord that unless he sent her a counselor with these requirements, and she said, I picked the most outrageous requirements I could. She said, I want her to be a woman, I want her to be Black, I want her to be a Christian, I want her hair to look like this, I want her to dress like this. I want her to talk like this. I want her to sing. Literally. She said, but the only way I won't take my life is if you send me a counselor that has these things. And she said, I went to an event and you were on stage. And I said, oh crap, I have to live. She just said, you so funny, Lord, like you got jokes. And she calls me her unicorn to this day. Because she's like, she said, I picked everything I knew couldn't happen. But she said, I just, like, what? And in that moment, that was the Lord confirming my calling.
With God, all things are possible.
Because I said, honey, you tested the Lord real nice. He got you together real quick. And in that, because the Lord will show you what I've called you to do, you're tailor-made for.
Yes.
No, you're not going to be for everybody, but the people I made you for.
Yes.
That's the population. Because he knows that I will crack a joke in a minute. I'll bust out singing a James Hall song. But then the next minute, I might be laying hands. Like, he knows. He knows how I am. But my calling, I was created literally and purposefully to fulfill this.
Yes. Yes. Now, see, and now I love it. This is something I talk about often, about assignment. And knowing that although you may do the same thing as someone else, it is uniquely different and it's created just for you. God put us in the earth uniquely, individually, on purpose, with purpose. And so I am so grateful that, one, you agreed to be with us today. I'm so thankful that you followed God and did what he wanted you to do. Finally. No.
Right. Because I play too much. Hell.
And I'm glad and grateful for the impact that I know you are having.
Thank you.
In this earth. And so thank you to everybody for being here today. If you all want to get in contact with Tasha, she did put her information, LaTasha@yourlifewalk.com. You can email her. She is in the Columbus area. Her phone number, she put it in there, 614-427-3317. You can contact her. Now, I'm telling you now, she is booked right now, but she will connect you with someone if she is not able to take you on herself. She will absolutely connect you with reliable therapeutic services. If you are in need of that, or if you know someone who is in need. And listen, let's not leave our children out, because our children need someone to talk to sometimes, and they need therapy. They don't just need grandmama and them. They need therapy. They are in need of it, and they need help. And so we want to be able to give our young people what they need, because oftentimes we do not have it. As parents, I'll speak for myself. I have put my children in therapeutic services because I didn't have what they needed.
Yep.
I just didn't. And it's no shade, it's no fault. It's just, it is what it is. And so we have to be mature enough to say, I can't help you, but I can get you some help.
Yep.
And I want to encourage each person who's on here with us today. Listen, get some help. We are in unprecedented times right now. And you might be feeling, as they say, some type of way. You might not even be able to explain exactly how you feel. And that's okay. I want to encourage you to reach out via, if you have insurance, please reach out to your insurance and see if there is someone that you can utilize. You can reach out to Tasha. I have other resources here if you want to reach out to me. You can inbox me on Facebook, Tanysha Carroll. You can email, I'm on assignment @gmail.com. and I will put you in touch, because if you're in the Atlanta area, there are plenty of places that you can go to and receive the services that you need. So
I'll put some websites on here.
yes.
That on these websites you can enter in your zip code, and they will pull up therapists that are near to you. On psychologytoday.com, you can put in your zip code, your insurance, what your issue is, how close you want them to be, if you want them to be Black, if you want them to be Christian. They have a lot of filters on Psychology Today, and it'll literally give you a whole list of the people that match your requirement.
That's amazing. That is
mentalhealthamerica.net does the same thing. But how you were saying, like, check with your HR department to see if they can connect you to, usually people have an EAP program, an employee assistance program. And in that, they usually talk about like how you can talk to a lawyer on the phone, or you can talk to a nurse line or something. But you can also get mental health counseling sessions for free. So they use a specific, each company has specific counselors that they use, but you can get like 3 to 10 sessions free per issue. So if right now you're dealing with anxiety and you use your 10 counseling sessions for anxiety, but now you feeling like, oh, I need some marriage counseling, that's 10 more sessions for free. So look for that. Ask your HR department about your FSA and your HSA accounts, because now they're starting to have debit cards, and usually you use those for like co-pays, or like you can pay for your glasses, or you can pay medical bills from those FSA and HSA accounts. You can also pay for your counseling sessions with those.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you might have some money laid up, because sometimes companies put money into those accounts, or they match what you're putting in there. Because I worked one job, I had about $450, $500 on this card, but I didn't know. I was like, what is FSA? What is HSA? And it was like, oh no, you can use it like for any type of medical or health concerns. You can get glasses or contacts, pay your co-pays. And I'm like, I've been paying this stuff out of pocket, but you can also be reimbursed if you have the receipt. So if you've been going to counseling and you've been paying, you can send those receipts in and get your money back.
Wow.
Tanysha.
Yes.
I know you weren't able to do the Facebook Live broadcast. Did you record this Zoom?
Yes.
You did? Okay, good. So you will post it on Facebook, and then I can share it, because this is something that I'd like to share. I'd like to get this out there. I know some people that would appreciate this, other people in the mental health field, and they'll push this also. So it was really, really great.
Yes, ma'am. I will be later today, probably. Yeah, I will be able to post the recording, and you guys are welcome to share it, because I think it has a lot of excellent information, and I am just elated. I'm so happy. This was really even more than I could have imagined. Great, and just so appreciative of you, Tasha, for just your insight, your encouragement, your understanding, your knowledge, and being yourself. I love it, love it, love it.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. We are going to wrap up. This has been an awesome time of sharing. It's pandemic. Now what? Now we have some tools to help our young people, our children, our families, even our churches. And it really starts with yourself, acknowledging where you are, and then being able to have conversation with those that you're in relationship with, and it can expand from there. And so again, thank all of you for being here. If you are in need of something, I have posted some of these websites on my Facebook page already. And you can look into those, and I'll be posting all the information once I put the recording up, okay? So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Tasha.
Thank
and you guys have an amazing week. Come on, let's put some of this stuff into practice this week. We're going to schedule a party. Woo! Look, and then here, look, party girl.
Ready, ready.